Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1702, written by LucklessLemings. Barnyard Bliss or Dusk's mystical abyss. It's pretty much the only uncontrolled intrusion into my waking life I've ever experienced. I was playing in the Region band in high school, having completed and won a place in the band. I played euphonium, was second chair, and was kicking myself for not getting first. C'est la vie. They got a well-known band composer to direct for us. His name was band director, and much like a professor will assign all the books he wrote inside his own classroom, the director assigned all of his pieces, save maybe one. You can imagine how painstakingly we went over each song. They were his children. One song really stuck with me in particular. It is called Dusk. The melodies were simple, but the harmonies are some of the most powerful I've ever heard. Slowly, it started to piece together as we practiced it. The day before the concert, we were finishing up the song, adding different stylistic notes here and there. After that was finished, he wanted us to play it through a couple times. I became lost in the music, even as I was playing along. It was simply powerful. And then the next thing I knew, I was no longer in the band hall. I was in a barn with my bare feet on the dirt floors. Every sense told me that the barn was real, even more real than the band hall where I was, because I was taking in all 5 senses at once. The air was cool, almost chilly, and everything felt lighter and cooler than it had before. I could feel my heart beating, not panicked or rapid, but strong. I reached out a hand to the door in the side of the barn, not the large ones, but the normal ones on the opposite sides. The walls were old wood, with cracks that allowed some reddish sunlight in. I opened the door, and the first thing I noticed was a woman with long blonde hair, sitting on the ground outside, facing away towards the sunset, which was straight ahead of me. I knew her. My gaze turned up towards the sunset, where she was looking. The sun was already past the edge of the world, so it was only red soaking the sky. But the most incredible thing to me was the wind. It cascaded incredibly powerfully throughout the wheat, which was stretched out as far as I could see. Endless stalks just waving back and forth. It came, and it's hard to describe this. The wind wrapped around me. It was cold and yet so good to be in. It brought a sharp life, like taking a deep breath after you've been underwater for as long as you can. I can't remember if I stayed out there watching the view for minutes, or if I came back within seconds. Still, there's almost no words to describe this. I've tried my best to do so. The whole experience happened within a few bars of the song. I believe I even continued playing while experiencing this for a bar or two. All I know is that if there is a heaven, I wouldn't be one bit disappointed if that was it. A few questions remain. I've never experienced anything like this before or since, at least during my waking hours. I have had strange instances also when I'm sleeping. Although many things could be explained away, I completely understand that this could just be my imagination, but that's still saying something, isn't it? Isn't it amazing where your mind can take you if you just give it a chance? Unless we're careful to experience things, we may just see more worlds in our sleep and waking dreams than we ever do in real life. Case file 1702, Barnyard Bliss or Dusk's mystical abyss. I don't think what you saw was heaven, per se. But I think it was a creation of your mind brought on by the harmonies of the music you were playing and hearing. Sort of think of it, the music was tugging on all the correct synapses in your brain to conjure this vision. And yeah, most people don't have visions when they listen to music. They might feel euphoric or have tremendous emotional response, but not visions. Still, I wouldn't discount the vision. I think it still matters. And I think it might just have unlocked a certain ability in your own mind. My guess is you're going to have more visions moving forward. Maybe not always triggered by music, but something else. I would keep a lookout for anyone that looks like the woman you saw in this vision. In real life. My guess is she's of special significance to you, or at least will be. Case file number 1703, written by Alternative Sand 771. Johnny's Echo with a time travel memo. So as a bit of a backstory, I'm a boarding school counselor. I work with teens around 16. I've been working at it for 3 years now. Around 10 years back, I was around 20. I lived in the same city, not too far from the boarding school. One day, as I was working in retail, this kinda emo-looking teen walks in and instantly recognizes me. He called out my name, something along the lines of, "Oh my god, Liz, I didn't know you work here." Now I'm a person who has really good facial recognition, even though I'm terrible with names. But I had no idea who this kid was, so I just told him he must have gotten it wrong. He initially laughed like I was playing a joke on him and said something like, "Yeah right, it's me, Johnny. Do you have amnesia or something?" In a way that felt like he was really familiar with me. But when he realized I was serious, he got so disappointed and looked actually hurt, like there was no way I didn't know him, but didn't insist and just got what he came for and left. It really stuck with me for years because I felt so bad that I didn't recognize this kid that seemed really happy to see me and even knew my name. I was also sure I'd see him again since most people coming to shop there are locals, and wanted to ask him where he thought he knew me from, but I never did. It just struck me as really odd. A few weeks back, one of the kids had to leave boarding school since his family decided to move abroad, and since this is a very high demand boarding school, some days later, a new kid joined our group instead of him. Lo and behold, it's Johnny. Same kinda emo look, same name, same way of talking. I know it sounds like something years could distort, but I have no doubt it's the same kid. I remembered his name and look since I wondered about it every once in a while since. This, however, shouldn't be possible since he would have been around 10 years ago. We also grew really close really fast since we have a very similar background. I'm honestly just waiting for the day he comes back to school and says he saw me working in the store. Case answer file 1703. Johnny's Echo with the time travel memo. So when you first saw Johnny a decade ago, I suspect to him it was still normal time in your current time now. For him, he probably crossed some sort of space-time portal, time vortex. So for a brief period of time, he was stuck in the past. Although in that case, if it was actual time travel to the past, to avoid paradoxes, he would have to be in a different universe. So he was essentially a multiverse time traveler. Pretty incredible, right? But from his perspective, it was just you in boarding school and, you were already friends, so that he probably went back to that school, that boarding area, and was like, "Hey, why didn't you recognize me? We interact every other day." In what original universe, without this time influence, did you get to know Johnny? Were you always sort of destined to? Again, I don't believe in destiny, but it is interesting. Without the catalyst of seeing this person back in the day, why would you become friends with him later on? Maybe that is just the original catalyst and, everything else is a time loop, sort of. A multiverse time loop. Now time for the quote of the day. Phil Connors. When Chekhov saw the long winter, he saw a winter bleak and dark and bereft of hope. Yet we know that winter is just another step in the cycle of life. But standing here among the people of Punxsutawney and basking in the warmth of their hearths and hearts, I couldn't imagine a better fate than a long and lustrous winter. From the movie Groundhog Day. Well, if anyone here is a regular, you'll know that I love winter. I don't like the sun, I get migraines from the sun, I love cold weather, the absence of bugs. Anyone who likes summer is strange to me. I mean, I get, being outside, shirt off, going in the lake or something, sure, that's fine. But it's a very small component of summer. For the rest of the time, you're just there sweltering in the stupid heat, bugs crawling in your ears, and just give me that long, dark, lustrous winter. Even if it would be a repeating day forever. I could live with that. As long as there's pie involved. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.